goes to the young people. You have to implement. You have to bring it to life. I have to admit, I was thoroughly immersed in it, and I enjoyed it. And to be candid, I knew not what to expect. And I am really very, very proud of all of it and what you talked about. You know, I'm going to cut it short and I'll let you go. But for those who don't know, you know, I started a business in the trunk of my car.
I remember.
Wow.
And I will be celebrating 35 years in business come February. But more importantly, understand that from that trunk of my car, it is now one of the largest black-owned businesses in the entire nation. You know, and the reality of that is, there were folks who looked like us who helped mentor me along the way. My story is a little different from many because a large portion of the people who mentored me were women, were black women, and women of color. So I've always had a different perspective on business because I never had to deal with whether or not somebody was a woman or a male. I was always able to just look for the best talent. And there was never a difference to me. And so I was fortunate through that. So, you know, from that and being able to give back to the community is what led me to have people come to me and ask me to run for mayor. And now I'm finding that having run for mayor, and I just got reelected, and you're all welcome to come out to Bowie City Hall on Monday at 8 o'clock, and there's gonna be a swearing in and then a little thing at overdue recognition afterward from 8 to 11, and please join in that. But the thing I wanna say is that Bowie State is no hidden gem. I think everybody has worked very hard to put it out there who Bowie State is. And when I say who Bowie State is, I'm talking about you. You know, you make Bowie State, not the other way around. It's the quality of the individuals here, you young people, that future we're trying to lay, is what makes Bowie State, but also makes what you talked about today so powerful. You know, as you went back to history and talked about, you know, the different things and where we've accomplished and where we do, we got a long way to go. Because think about it, as small as my business is, and I mean, some would argue with that, but it is, comparatively speaking, to what we look at when you look at the Fortune 100 or Fortune 500. We've got a long way to go. And I'll let you kind of talk, because I don't want to just shoot it, but we've got some major challenges coming up. And we're facing them right now that many of you may not even be aware of. You know, the assault on minority programs. Now understand, this isn't just rhetoric anymore. It's real. And with your permission, I'd like to just delve into that just a little bit. One of the things that happened when the Supreme Court came down with their decision about affirmative action with universities and all of that is, I was very concerned about that. And I talked about that to a lot of our leaders. And they didn't understand. And I said, that's that first domino. And we're gonna have a domino effect. And a lot of people say, no, it only had to do with education and all that. But we soon learned differently. As you talked about Obama in the play today, what we had happen is, after we had the issue with affirmative action with the schools and what they needed to do, in Tennessee, a judge ruled that the minority program that has been a stalwart for minority businesses, particularly black-owned businesses, the 8A program. And for those who don't know what that is, there's a special set-aside program in the Small Business Act, and it's Section 8A. And it says that there are certain procurements that are set aside for minority businesses. And the purpose of that is I was an 8A. It gives us a chance not to be relegated just to subcontractors, but for us to actually have a chance to be prime contractors, which means we get to build our infrastructure. We get to work directly with customers and build those things. Well, and the 8A program has been huge when it comes to all of us. It's supposed to be for those who are socially and economically deprived coming up. Well, there was a judge in Tennessee who has ruled that the 8A program is now unconstitutional. And one of the reasons he gave for that is that there's no longer any discrimination because we're all equal now and everything is on foot. And you know what he used? He used President Obama as an example. We've had a black president, so everything is okay. Everything is fair. And we know that's not the case. Now the ripple from that decision that he made in Tennessee, where our 8A contract, he said was unconstitutional and kicked it back, has now led the SBA to now look at dismantling the entire SBA 8A program. What they've now forced is that there was an understanding and feeling that if you were black in America, there's no getting around that you've been discriminated against. But now they're saying that's not true. So now, where people apply for the 8A program, they will automatically, if you were a person of color, admitted into the program. They have all of those people going back now and having to justify when they were coming up how they were discriminated against. Now understand what that means. They are now having people go back and have to make written statements about what happened in their life and justifying being discriminated against. Which means there is the potential for one of the largest programs that afford folks who look like us an opportunity to be prime contractors and to work, to be done away with. You know, now understand, the flip side of that is people of color could get kicked out, but it's understood that, and nothing against it, that if you're a woman, you're okay. Now, the biggest problem we've been having with these minority set-aside programs, candidly, is that white women were coming in, were choosing that status, but really had other people running those programs, i.e., basically they had husbands who were in the industry, who had relationships in the industry, and who then were then getting all the contracts themselves and the subcontract. So we're in a very perilous time for those coming behind us. You know, and we've got to fight that, and we've got to be prepared, and we need you to be prepared. Because you are the voices that have to speak up. Mm-hmm. You are the voices that will need to say, we need opportunity. Yeah. As you talked about in your play tonight, you talked about buying black and about how it built up our communities and how they got turned down. But we've got to get back to building that up. You know, the days of the big box stores are gone. You know, the majority of the stores we have are what you just talked about. Small, in the community. You know, pop-up stores. We have to support all of that.
Yeah.
And the first step we have in doing that is supporting each other, what you talked about tonight. You know, there was a study done a long time ago. I apologize if I'm long with it, but I think
it's good.
You know, because you need to hear that, because you're not going to hear it from anybody else. Yeah. I've lived it. You know, there was a study done a long time ago, but it still holds true now. What they did was they took two stores. One was white owned, one was black owned. And what they did is they set up a test. And both of the stores had sour milk. Okay? Folks who look like us went into the black-owned store, bought the milk, it was sour, and pledged they would never ever shop in that store again, and didn't. They went into the white-owned store, bought the sour milk, but went back. And continued to go back. And that's the issue we have to deal with, who we are and how we treat each other. We have got to get out of that mindset that we can't feel that what we do is inferior. Even if we both fail, folks are going to go to other folks and not support us. And that's a reality. And y'all need to be aware of that. You know, one of the first steps in that, I just talked about, my re-election as mayor. I did it because people came to me and said, hey, we need an honest broker. We need somebody who can help us, who can move Bowie forward. And I was the first black mayor in 138 years.
Sure was.
And I appreciate that, but the real story is that all of you have got to use the biggest tool we have, and that's the vote.
Gotta vote.
And I'm sorry, y'all sit around nodding your heads, but how many of you actually get out there and do it? How many of you drag other people into it? The only way there is gonna be some form of a level program or a level playing field is the vote. You know, you've got a Supreme Court that is now truly politicized. You've got two parts of Congress that are just at each other, and even within those things. But how you change that is with your vote. You know, I have a new city council, and the truth is the truth. We've got to figure out how we're going to work this. I mean, understand, we had fisticuffs in the parking lot.
Sure did.
On the day of election. That's where it is. We've got to change that, but you got to vote. In the city of Bowie, we only had 15% of eligible voters come out. Now, when people in Bowie start seeing things change and happen, you know, my response to them is that, you know, elections have consequences. You know, we've got to deal with what we have to deal with now. And whether or not they want to see Bowie continue to move in a prosperous way and doing the things we want to do, we'll have to see. My job as mayor, as a chair of the council, is to make sure we keep moving forward. You know, and to make sure that we get everybody on the same page and doing it. But it requires you, each of you, with your families and all. You can't sleep this. That next election that's coming up,
Goodness.
when we start talking about our congressional, we start talking about president and the whole bit, if we sleep it like we did the last time, and the time before that, we got trouble. And it starts here. You know, y'all gotta remember there were people who looked like you and were your age and did all those things, who were willing to risk their lives for you to have the right to vote. And you owe it to them and all those folks who came before you to make sure you exercise that. You know, it's not gonna be easy. But we talk about where we're going as a country with democracy. That's on y'all. That's really on y'all. And some of you can look out tomorrow and say, oh, that was good, we heard the mayor, but yeah, what's going on? See, the one thing that we gotta stop doing is counting on us being motivated. You know, you don't need someone to motivate you to vote. You need to be inspired to vote. See, motivation requires somebody else, and you can, but when you're inspired, you will do it, and you will continue to do it, and you will try to bring people along with you. That's what we need. You know, and all you do. See, you're pursuing your passions. And no matter how hard, what it takes, when you're really pursuing your passion, you're inspired by it. You don't need somebody to sit down to you every day and say, you know, you really can do this. You really can put this on. You really can act on this. You really can do that. No, you're inspired to pursue your craft and do that. You need to be inspired about voting. You need to be inspired about keeping democracy. You need to be inspired about taking care of those coming behind you like a lot of us did. You know, look, I'll tell you very candid. I saw more deaths than I ever should have seen in my life.
Amen.
You know, I came up in a place and a time where one of the earliest moments I have is remember going with my mother to try and turn over some bodies to see if there was anybody who had come from a party we had at our house. You know, in high school, you know, have you ever had seen somebody with their head blown off, feet in front of you? I went through that. But I was also that kid who, because I was academically okay, they would often put me down as white, rather than to say one of the top students in the school was black. I also had to go through being chased by mob, knowing that if I fell, I'd be dead. But that's real. Ask me if anybody ever showed up to counsel us about seeing people head blown off in front of us or being chased by mob. No. You know, we've got to get in a position where we treat our young people and understand all of you may have experienced that as well. You know, but it takes a toll. It was a toll my daughter goes here, as many of you may know, Kayla. Adam. Kayla is my daughter. You know, when the court went up to Morgan State for their ball, for their court, you know, my wife was with Kayla, they're coming out and they're shooting. Okay? We turned right around the next week here at Bowie, we got another shooting. You know, who's dealing with you, our young people? You shouldn't be able to just say, oh yeah, there was another shooting. No, that should be something you understand that is affecting you. If not consciously, subconsciously. You know, the problem we still have is when I was a kid, we were talking about black on black crime. And then it switched to, well, it was about gangs and it was about drugs. But it's always about our community having these issues. And we gotta stand up to that. We gotta stop losing so many young people to violence. You know, at one point when I was coming up, the safest place you could be is amongst us.
Sure was.
And now we're finding that one of the most unsafest places to be is amongst us. There's something truly inherently wrong with that. And we got to change that. Yeah. And one of the steps you do with that first is what I just said a little while ago. It's about your vote. You know, we got to get away from voting on people and putting style over substance. You know, somebody got some real quick soundtrack, they look good, they're smooth, and people voting for them without looking to see what kind of substance do they have. What have they done to fight for you? What is their vision for you? Other than they want a job and they want the prestige of being an elected official. We got to get past that, but it's up to you. And I make this passionate plea to you to understand that this is real. You know, we had a time where we lost our focus. You know, we got caught up in our own music and our own rap when we started talking about I got mine, get yours. You know, we got caught up where people were looking for what was in it for them and not what was in it for the community. You know, I tell people, you know, it's not about a job. You know, it's about the deal. And that's a big part of what you talked about tonight. See, too many times we sell out for the money instead of selling out and being a part, not selling out, but being a part of the deal. See, the way we do now with that whole idea of I'm gonna get mine, you need to be thinking about I'm gonna get mine for the community. You know, because the reality is this, the numbers don't lie. People may lie about the numbers, but the numbers don't lie. They bring in people and they say, oh, part of the deal is gonna be you. But really, you're not part of the deal, you're just somebody they're paying a fee. And then they get the deal and they get to make millions and millions for perpetuity and they just hook you up with 10 grand and it's done. You know, our real success is gonna be about not what we do for ourselves, but what we do for our community. The real thing is, you gotta understand, we can't be caught up in what I'm gonna get out the deal, because it needs to be talking about what will my community get out. Your success is not about what you get financially, it's what your community gets. And that's real. And we need you, your generation, to step back up and say enough already. We're gonna do putting out what you just did tonight. Making sure people see that and reflect and think about it. You know, we gotta stop rewarding those who think about only themselves. You know, I have a thing and I get in trouble about this, but it's okay. I don't mind, take me on. I'll talk to you every day. You know, we got this whole thing about generational wealth. You know, we've got to do that. But we've got to understand how that hurts. And that sounds strange because everybody talks about we need to create generational wealth. Well, when they talk about generational wealth, they're talking about for their family. We need to create generational opportunities for our communities. That's where the real deal is. It's not about how much money your grandchildren and great-grandchildren will have, who will no longer live in our communities, who will probably assimilate more to other folk than they will us. You know, that's what it's about. You know, when people talk about me, I'm very proud of it. I don't talk about it, typically, but I'm talking to you about it. You know, people say, well, what have you done? Well, I've done a lot, but I don't go around bragging about it. Because my mom's taught me something when I was young, and I still believe it to today, and every one of you should too. It's if you did something for somebody expecting a thank you, you did it for the wrong reason.
Yes, that's true.
Let me say, I love Bowie State. You know, I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in scholarships that I've invested in Bowie State. And what is that about? It's about you. It's about those coming behind us. It isn't about me saying, oh, look what I did. No, it's real. You know, you are talented, but you also deserve the right to be in school. You have the right to pursue your passion. And we, as elected officials and supposedly public servants, have got to get off of this high horse and stop looking at, oh, what's my next position? Oh, what can I do? No, you need to be working for the people. And I'm sorry, we got way too many folks who are in it who become politicians and that's their job. And they're just saying, how do I get some more money on the next step? That's real. I'm sorry. It's real though. And that goes back to getting past style and making sure you're looking for substance. Now I know I went on real long, but I feel very passionate about that, particularly after what I saw tonight, because you hit home a lot of real issues, and you really hit home about how do we support each other.
How long
And
was
one of
this
the things
speech?
I've been fighting to do in the city
How long was it?
is to support you.
I can't see that.
We have
For
some
25
great
minutes.
relationships with Bowie State now, where we have the artists coming in and doing displays there, where we've had the choir, where we come in and sing and just integrate it. You know, that's what we wanna do. We wanna make sure that, you know, are you aware of the Bowie BIC? Are any of you aware of the BIC? The Bowie Innovative Center? We support Bowie State in trying to help businesses to grow with the SBA. We got money, we just got money from the feds that gave to Bowie State, like $1 million to pass on this program even to Morgan State and some of the other places. And you need to know, if you've got a business you wanna develop or grow, you're not too young for it, go to the Bowie BIC. Go in there, they have training. You know, if you wanna look at getting into the 8A program, they can help you with that. But there's money here, we have scholarships here, take advantage of them. But the Bowie BIC is here, and we will continue to fund that. We will continue to fund that. And take advantage of it, no matter what the business is you're thinking about doing. There are some experts who come in, they'll talk to you, they'll help you work through that. And I just wanna see more of you, you know, what they say, art imitating life. I'd like to see life imitate this art. And see those stores, see those pop-ups, see those ideas you have. It's not too early. And I'm sorry, I was just, a part of this is because I was moved by what I saw. And y'all need to understand, what you did tonight can touch some people. It truly can. And don't shy
Needs to
away
be
from
produced.
not only this, but more. You know, and know that they got folks like me who are fighting battles every day and don't need to talk about them, but I will fight for you. You need help with something, call me. You know, I've done a lot of things here, you know, at Bowie State. We fought many of them. And for those who don't know, I've been working and supporting Bowie State since 1999. When I first took over as chair of the foundation here, I used to have to come over here and sit in a room with a big checkbook to make sure that we wrote money, we got money to it, and then helped us go into a more automated, a sophisticated system, help raise millions of dollars for scholarships. So it's not like I'm new to this. You know, I love Bowie. You know, I tell the story because I would be doing myself and my family injustice that I didn't talk about. Tiara, my oldest daughter, and many of you may know that story. My daughter Tiara was a student here at Bowie State, and 2 weeks before she graduated, she went to sleep and didn't wake up. You know, we got her degree posthumously. What I was blessed with is that my younger daughter, Kayla, who's a senior now, had talked with her big sister and had decided of all the places that had offered her all these wonderful things, she wanted to be at Bowie, like her big sister. And it was a blessing for us because as she was going through that mourning process, she was here. And all of you as a school, as a campus, put your arms around her. You know, and she's living her best life here. I mean, she truly is living her best life here. So to all of you, thank you. Because a part of that isn't about you knowing her personally, It's about you making Bowie State that place that people can be proud of. And when you walk by and you respect the young ladies on campus, that's important, man. You know, our fellas gotta make sure we do that. And as I told my son, who's at another university, he said, what can you tell me most? I say the most important thing is when it comes to particularly our young black women, you respect a woman even if she doesn't respect herself. And I say that to our brothers, because I don't want you to get it twisted. You know, make sure you respect our black women. You know, we need to put them on a pedestal. I don't care how many times, just like tonight, they cuss you out, you still keep them on the pedestal.
Yes, sir.
You know, because we're one of the only groups that don't put our women on the pedestal. And we gotta do that. That's that respect. Because all you're doing is loving your sisters, your mothers, your grandmothers, and we gotta hit home with that. So I've gone way off track. I'm gonna get back to where we were. I'm sorry for keeping you so long with me just going. If you got some questions that I didn't answer, please feel free.
Honestly, I don't even know. I feel like you hit every single question.
I'm sorry. You know.
That was good.
Thank you.
That was good, though.
Again, this is all about you. You know, and there are those out here who are fighting for you, but now you gotta take up the mantle too.
Yeah,
Okay?
'cause we tired.
Huh?
I said we tired. I've been fighting since 1968 when they
Yeah.
killed Dr. King. That was I was angry when I started marching.
Yeah.
And I've been marching since I'm 70 years old. I've been marching ever since. For you. I didn't think I would be marching in my 60s. But things started changing. I had to get back out there. Make sure President Obama was elected.
Yeah.
We fought hard for Hillary Clinton. Her people didn't know how to win. We knew how to win.
Yeah.
But they didn't trust us to win for them.
Right. And
That man
so-
should have never got into office.
And you're right, and that goes back to y'all can't.
We was
think
angry.
back. How many of you registered to vote when you were 16? When you were 16, you knew that you couldn't cast your ballot till you were 18, but you could register and you could work at the polls.
And they had us
That's the kind of
marching
thing
at
you have to do.
10.
Huh?
They had us marching at 10.
Yeah, and that's, you know, when you look back at that, and imagine how parents must have
Our
felt,
parents put the
knowing
children
that they
on
were
the
letting their
pedestal.
little children go out there to be beaten
Yeah,
and
they
bitten by
did.
dogs, but they
In
were
Chicago.
willing to hold that back and sacrifice their children for you. Don't let all these folks
We
down.
didn't have a choice.
Be a force to be reckoned with, and it's coming up. You know, be that force who's willing to give some time and be on the phone. Be that force that is willing to go some places where they need help and volunteer for a while. Be those folks. Do what you just did. Put together some things. When I did it, I did a Divine 9. And I put together my own video that said 9 reasons why you need to vote. And I had somebody from each of the Divine 9 talk about why you needed to vote. And it went viral all across the country. But you can do that too. Put it out there. And I'm gonna zip on it because I could talk to you all night because there's so much out there. But remember, the opportunities for you, particularly on the federal side, are really under the gun now. And if you're gonna save that, you need to make sure you vote. And make sure you vote for people of substance. Not just style, but people who are gonna get in there and fight for you. Okay? And I appreciate y'all letting this old man run off everybody.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.
Well, whence all my blessings come. You know, and yes, I don't mind letting you know I'm a man of God. You know, and I talk about how blessed I am, and there are those who even challenge me and say, how can you say how blessed you are? Your daughter died on you. You had an accident and woke up one day and you're a paraplegic. And I'm like, that's life. That's where you really have to pray, and I've gotten stronger from it. You know? But I also know that every day hundreds and hundreds of men and women get up and put on my SATEC badge and go out and do national defense and national security. Right. And every one of you in here can come into SATEC and know that you will be treated based upon your abilities and not held back for any other thing, be it race or gender. That you get a shot. And one of the things I'm proudest of, people come in, we train them up, and they move on. And that's good. You know, because we got folks now kicking tail and Fortune 500s and all of that, and keeping in touch and saying things. You know, one of the funniest things I always think about is someone I told him my cheat sheet. My cheat sheet is how I do my financials and how I get to what I really need to see at a glance. And he took that and he went to work for a Fortune 500. And he called me and he was laughing. He said, Tim, I showed them the cheat sheet that you had put together and I presented it to them. He said they acted as if I walked on water. And we laughed about that. But that's what it's about. We're supposed to build each other up and go do what you gotta do. Let them know who you are. And yes, every one of us in here has to understand how you conduct yourself is not just about you, it's about every other black person that walks behind you. And we got this whole thing about self and all of that. Nah, you're representative. Mm-hmm. You're representative, and you gotta take that on. Yeah, that's an extra load, that's an extra burden, but that's one you need to carry. No punk out on it. Okay, Mo?
Gotcha.
All right. All right, now for the fourth time, I'm really finished. So should I dismiss what? What do you want?
You can say anything.
Okay. Well, let me just say again, thank you so much. It's been an honor for you to see this show. It really has been. And I kind of want to open the floor for the cast and all of the production team, because this was definitely a collaboration across the board. Maybe you guys want to get a word in, say anything from your house.
Thank you.
May I ask a question? When will we see this on TV?
That's what's good, huh?
It's really good to see it January, February, during those months. It would have been great to see it during the Christmas holiday, because everyone's home. But this was really, really good and educational. So when will we see it produced? I'm sorry.
Well, honestly,
we need some money people here.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I'm encouraging the theater program, VCVMA music program, every single program in this building to come together and make this happen. Yeah. Because this piece, as I was writing it, I just realized it's not just talking about the things that I see. It's the things that's been happening in our community for hundreds of years, and they're going to keep on happening until we address that change, until we do something about it, until we get off our couches, get off our cell phones, and actually say no. I'm done just sitting back and just watching. Let's go do something about it.
Exactly.
So, if y'all with me, y'all can rock with me.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that look like? What do you need to do then?
Yes, to make it universal.
I need my people to come together. That's the most
What do you need to do that?
What do you need money. Produce.
Dude, I'm setting you up to say, if
Stars.
I had a couple of $1,000 to
If
invest.
they had
I'm letting you know, but
if you had a couple of
Y'all need to film this.
Wait,
Put it on TV.
couple of dollars, you could
we
support the project.
Go straight forward.
Bob
Like,
Black,
come on, dog.
and we would be honored.
I will give you some seed
I
money.
can see
I
Taraji
will
Henson.
donate a couple of $1,000 to this to get you going.
Thank you.
And don't ever be afraid to ask. You know, one more time.
Oh, yeah.
See, too many times, we put ourselves in position to be in the room. There's two things to understand. Number one, a lot of times we go in a room and we're the only ones who look like us. But you gotta get off that ego trip. Remember, you're in that room not for you, but for everybody else who couldn't be in that room. Okay, that's number one. And number two, this isn't about being starstruck. If you get in a room with the governor and you find out you're going and the governor's there, make sure you have an ask for him. Make sure not just be there to take a picture and say, oh, I was
Exactly.
with the governor. No, what's your ask? Make sure you have an ask, and that's on any of
Yeah,
our
when y'all gonna produce
have an
this?
ask. I'm sorry, what?
When you gonna produce it? This really is good. This is
So,
good.
you know, that's where we are. But make sure you have an ask. You know, make an ask for the Arts Council. You know, we do grants at Bowie,
Yeah.
the city. We do arts grants. Look at getting grants. Look at reaching out to the state. The state gives art grants.
For individual students as well?
Hmm?
For individual students as well?
I don't know if they do it for a student, but I mean, there's a lot of money. How many of y'all applied to your delegate and to your senator for scholarships?
Ships.
Now, you know, all of you can do that, right? There's a lot of money out there.
Going down.
You can hit up your congressman, well, particularly your senator, and all, and say, hey, you get these budgets, why don't you call some of that out and give it to the students here at Bowie State for their art program, for this particular thing. They have money they can give out. Hit them up. That goes back to the ask. You know?
Somebody, I don't got my phone. Somebody taking notes. What's going down?
This young lady right here.
Got this recorded.
And you know what? Y'all welcome to come and talk to me anytime. You know, one thing I always tell folks is, it's one thing to come and stroke a check. Because a lot of times people want to stroke a check and say, oh, I helped you. I always like to come here and talk to the students. A lot of times you may have seen me, half of them don't know who the heck I am. But I'm sitting there talking to them and talking about what they're doing, and that's what's key. It's about giving them yourself. You know, not just stroking a check. It's about being engaged in your life and letting you ask the real deal. A lot of times we got folks who look like us, who candidly don't want to ask somebody who doesn't look like us because they don't want to look like they're not knowledgeable. And so they feel a lot more comfortable saying, hey, you know, doing it. I mean, I'll tell you, this has been different for me. It's not like I come from any money. I was that kid who was talking about from the Mighty Nine and don't mind dying. You know, that's how I grew up. You know, that government cheese tastes good. You know, it didn't melt too easy, but.
But it was good in macaroni and cheese.
Huh?
It was good for macaroni and
There
cheese.
you go, you know. And people said they didn't get it, but we also got peanut butter.
And butter.
So we were good.
Back in
So
the
but
day.
my point is, from there to where I am now, but I haven't changed who I am. You know, you walk up on me, and I mean, I understand being professional and all that. But if you walk up on me, I'm not able to just be like I was. What's up? You know, because we don't have to change. We don't have to assimilate. We can be who we are. And that doesn't do anything about our intellect or capability. I am finished. And look, I'm gonna go put my hat on and everybody shut up. But I would like to know what everybody thought of tonight. I'm curious. As you went through this, as you saw that, but even as a cast, you know, how does it affect you doing that? If you don't mind, real quick, just.
I think I can shed some light on what I actually spoke about in our talk back yesterday about. So I'm actually not from this area. I'm actually from Dallas, Texas, and so I kind of spoke about being raised in the area where there weren't many Black-owned businesses, and so, but that was what I knew at a young age, and so when I got older and my mother started taking me around to these Black-owned food spots, these Black apparel spots. Now I'm at the point where I'm realizing, oh, I kind of see what's going on here. Like we need to start supporting. You know, like we need to start coming together. And of course, at that point in my life, I'm not thinking too much of it. I'm playing sports. I'm just going to school. But now, especially now, it's coming all this way to transfer here. I'm a transfer student. Like coming here, making art with these talented souls that I'm meeting, and I'm still making connections and bonds with. There's a lot to do. Yeah. There's a lot to do, and we can't be afraid to throw those ideas out there. There's always gonna be time where we get rejected an idea. We get told no about it, especially in the theater world. We don't get told no all the time. We're not gonna get every audition, but like you said, that's life. It's just a matter of how you bounce back from that, how you gain from that, how you learn from that. And so I think just my whole life with all shows all shows I had the opportunity of being a part of, all stories I've had the chance to tell. It's just keep absorbing that to make you stronger so you can push back into the world that is out there, into the community that you're a part of. So I mean, it just added a lot to my plate. It added a lot to my ammo, like that I'll be ready to use.
I'll have something to say. My name is Alexis Kennedy. I'm currently a junior here, like Jacobie. I transferred this semester to Bowie State. And I want to say that probably the largest theme that resonated with me during this process of developing this show was community. And that started in the rehearsal room with our cast. Y'all can see our chemistry on stage. I promise you, off stage, it is the exact same. We got so close so very quickly, and for a show like that, that is so important. And I didn't know. Briche, it's her. I'm so sorry. But for a show,
I'm starting to go,
for a show where that theme is reiterated so intensely, I didn't know how widely off stage that was going to expand. Not only so it went from like the rehearsal room to when we finally began to work with tech, to now outside during our shows we have pop-up shops where you can literally buy from Black businesses, which I encourage y'all to come back even tomorrow for our last day to support these businesses, because it's so important. Really just reiterating the fact that we need to stick together. If we're not intentionally uplifting our own people, if we're not intentionally buying from these businesses, if we're not intentionally not only motivating but inspiring each other to come together and support one another. That's community.
That's deep. That's real. That's real. What about yourself? I'll get back to you. What
do I have to say?
I
got all. You believe in me?
Are you just like?
Oh, I'm not. Okay.
promise I'm not. I saw you before.
I know, my point is, what is your feel?
I like this experience. I like meeting all of y'all, most of you. I love and this is my first of all, I'm Whitney Watson. I'm a junior here. This was my first Bowie production to be in, and I'm very grateful, of course. For one, reading the script together from there, I didn't really know them like that. And I enjoyed like coming together as us. And I haven't met somebody interested in what I'm interested in. And when my mom saw the play, we talked about it, and I'm like, this serious topics. And even like, because we went through the play several times. It probably didn't hit as much to me because I haven't seen it from the stands. But you've inspired me and motivated me. You've inspired me to pick up the torch because my mommy was just saying that. Thank you for fighting for us. So we should continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we need you. Cause you need each other, you know?
I was just gonna say, hi, what's up, y'all? My name is Raymond Ingram. I say for me, honestly, I think like throughout the process of writing this play, I think I just wanted to communicate with not only my amazing fellow actors, creative team, everyone, that the Black community as we are our greatest asset, but we can also be our greatest enemy. We have to come together, and if we don't, we will destroy ourselves. So that's what this play is about, coming together at the most adverse times, even when we're pushed against the wall, we're beaten down, we feel like everything's coming down on us, but we have to continue to stick together because who else will? Who else has? We all we got. Like Cora says in the play, these white folk don't care about you. We all we got, and honestly, at the same time, we all what we need.
That's a good place to.
Yeah.
That's a good place to.
Yeah, and you know,
I had some.
go ahead, please.
No, but my name is Justus Harris, and I work as a set designer for this play. And just to touch on community, like, I'm also a transfer student. I came from Frostburg State, and like, just the experience from being at Frostburg to not being at Bowie is completely different. Like, I could, like, just the professors, like, students, everyone is here for you. It's kind of like when you at like a PWI or something like that, like, or at least when I was at Frostburg, I didn't really feel that community. And like, I'm very happy that we made a production that touches on community and everything. Like, I feel like there needs to be more media like that, like that touches on those topics.
There will be.
For sure.
That's what there will be.
Yeah.
It's like y'all nowhere.
That was
What made you transfer
What made me transfer?
to Bowie State? Because I know the reason, but I want to hear you say it.
I mean, HBCU was always my first choice, and like I got accepted, but like by the time I found out, I was already in my dorm at Frostburg, so like it was just one of those type of things. You know, I just want to be at an HBCU.
Yeah.
You should get a picture too because you're one of the veterans.
Oh, yeah. I can take the picture. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, and we'll give all the cameras to Erica.